Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm going to show you how I divide the sugarcane plant and then replant it again. This is a very simple process. You can do this in your backyard or even on your terrace. The first thing that we need to do is cut off all these leaves. These are not edible and they will take up space. So let us remove them so that we have more room for our sugarcane plants to grow. And now we just need to get rid of the roots. We don't want any part of the root system left behind, because if there are some parts remaining, they might cause problems later on when we try to dig or till the soil around here. So make sure everything gets removed completely. Now, after removing all those things from the ground level, it looks like something has been taken away already. But no worries, because what remains next will be much easier than before. Just look at how easy it was to pull out those big chunks of dirt that were holding onto each other tightly together. It seems as though someone had already loosened them up for me beforehand. Anyway, once all those clumps come off easily enough, we now need only one last step before planting begins again. That means cutting these stalks into smaller pieces, so that each individual piece has its own chance to grow back into something bigger than itself later on. Now, let us divide our sugarcane plant into several different sections. Each section needs to contain about 3 or more nodes in order for new growths to develop properly. Once divided, make sure not too many parts remain connected together, because otherwise they will compete against each other for nutrients and water supply. After dividing them into smaller sections like this one here, we can now start cutting off any excess material from around these areas where we want our new plants to grow from later on. This way there won't be any interference between old roots and newly formed ones. That might cause problems down below ground level either. Finally, after everything has been cut away completely, let us prepare ourselves mentally first, before actually starting digging holes, because this part requires patience and precision while working with soil around here. So let us take deep breaths before we begin digging holes into soft earth below ground level. After taking several deep breaths before starting work again, let us start digging small holes about 1 foot apart from one another along rows where each individual plant will go later on. Make sure not to dig them too close together either, since otherwise these plants might end up competing against each other for nutrients or space underground as well. Once all those little holes have been dug properly enough, we can now fill them back up using loose soil from nearby areas, wherever possible without compacting it down tightly, so that roots won't get stuck inside afterwards when planting begins again soon after. Finally, once everything has been filled completely, it is time to put our newly divided sugarcane pieces into their designated spots, while making sure none are touching one another closely, either so that no competition occurs between them both. Underground levels either. Now, just like before, fill back any remaining gaps left behind above ground, using more loose dirt found nearby, without pressing anything down firmly yet, until actual planting starts next week.